Hey guys, this is the Max Invest YouTube channel here, and in today's video we're doing a video on NIO. Before I begin the video, I just want to let you know that none of this is financial advice and you should do your own research before diving into any of the stocks mentioned on this channel. This is all for entertainment purposes only. So in today's video we're looking at the company NIO. And to do a deep dive into NIO, we're going to use Warren Buffett's method, where we're going to understand the business, check for competitive advantages, check the management team, and look at valuation. We're not going to do as much on valuation, as I want you guys to make your own decisions about what price you want to get the company at. So for the first part of the video, we'll be looking at understanding the business. NIO designs, manufactures, and sells smart and connected electric vehicles. NIO has the EC6, the ES6, and the EC8. Also, NIO will be releasing the ET7 in 2022. Currently, NIO's best-selling vehicle is the EC6, but it looks like the ET7 will overtake this in 2022 when it comes out. NIO is also the fifth most valuable automaker globally, with a market cap of $100 billion. NIO employs a highly competitive battery as a service model and has numerous other competitive advantages like its superb referral rate. I believe, in my subjective opinion, that NIO are far ahead of legacy brands in creating electric vehicles, as they have already started in 2015, 2016, whereas legacy brands are only getting into electric vehicles right now. It's also important to more broadly look at the electric vehicle sector, which is an emerging market, and see if NIO will capitalize on it. Within China, EV sales just surpassed 1 million, and by 2025 this number will be 5 million. Moreover, by 2030, 40% of all sales will be electric vehicles, and by 2040 there will be 20 million electric vehicles within China. I believe NIO are best positioned to capitalize on this, as NIO is already the biggest company in the sector in China. NIO have a market cap of 100 billion relative to the competitors like Li Auto with a market cap of 28 billion and XPeng with a market cap of 40 billion. This shows that NIO is further ahead with their development and have produced more cars and more vehicles than these other companies, making them best positioned to capitalize on this emerging market within China. Moreover, the Chinese government have shown strong support for NIO. NIO were given a $1 billion bailout loan from the Chinese government, and they were loaned $1.5 billion from Chinese banks just a few months later. China is also extending EV subsidies into 2022, and it's likely China will continue this. China also seemed to give special treatment to their own countries, which should help with overseas growth. China have plans to expand outwards. As they have said, we have plans to enter into overseas markets in 2021 if the COVID-19 pandemic does not worsen. There are plans for NIO to enter into the European market, as Europe have a similar stance on electric vehicles to China, which is to continue growing the industry, have good subsidies, and have a very accommodative electric vehicle policy. William Li also hinted NIO will try and expand into Norway. Norway is a special country, as it's the first country where more vehicles sold in 1 year were electric vehicles than internal combustion engines. It is also important to look at NIO's financials to see if NIO are financially positioned to do well in the future and see if they can continue their rapid growth rate. In the third quarter of 2020, NIO had a 146% increase in vehicle sales from the third quarter of 2019. This directly correlated to a 146% increase in revenues since the third quarter of 2019, because the vast majority of NIO's revenue comes from their vehicle sales. This is insane growth, and hopefully this continues into the future for NIO. And I will get into why I believe these vehicle sales will continue into the future. Moreover, on a quarter-by-quarter basis, NIO have had outstanding vehicle sales. Vehicle sales more than doubled to 43,728 in 2020, and in December 2020, NIO set a new monthly record for vehicles sold. Well, at least that was before Monday. Recently on Monday, it was announced that NIO had delivered 7,225 vehicles in January alone. This represents a 352% growth in vehicle sales. This is extremely high because vehicles are cyclical and they generally do not do that well in quarter one. So to see NIO having these outstanding numbers is phenomenal. It shows NIO are growing at a massive rate, and some people have credited it to zero interest loans and a range of other factors such as the quality of the vehicles constantly improving. I strongly believe that NIO's strong vehicle sales will increase into the future, and my first reason for this is NIO have tons of cash at hand to increase production and build more vehicles. Let's take a look at their balance sheet. As you can see, in 2019, NIO had a pretty dodgy balance sheet, whereby they had significantly less total current assets than they had total current liabilities. This means that NIO had not much cash on hand and they had a significant amount of liabilities in the short term. However, in 2020, NIO have a current ratio of 2.4. This means they have 2.4 times the amount of total current assets as they have total current liabilities. Basically, this means NIO have a ton of cash on hand to do a ton of things, and this can be credited to the Chinese government's support and the significant growth in sales NIO are experiencing. I believe that new factories are likely to come up for NIO, significantly helping them increase sales at a rate far bigger than analysts expect and maybe even far bigger than NIO expects. There is recent evidence to show that a new factory is coming up. Jax Motors work with NIO, and they recently bid on a piece of land right next to NIO's headquarters. This basically shows that NIO are probably going to be working with Jax Motors and probably making this new production factory. This is great because it means NIO are working towards vertical integration. Vertical integration allows a company to more effectively manage its business. It can stop all short-term supply disruptions and gives the company total control. Another part of Warren Buffett's method for reviewing companies is checking that the company has a competitive advantage. This will help the company get ahead of all of the other competitors and shows the company has an economic moat. I believe NIO has some key competitive advantages that we will be looking at. So there's two key competitive advantages for NIO. What if I told you NIO can be price competitive without reducing the cost of cars? This seems unbelievable, but it's true, and it's due to their battery as a service model. This means that the battery is treated as a separate entity to the vehicle. This lowers the costs of vehicles by roughly $10,000. Moreover, the way this works is basically users will need to pay a subscription fee for their batteries to have a new battery every single month. This costs roughly between $150 and $250 every month, and it's likely that down the road users will have the chance to upgrade their batteries and get back more better batteries, which will give NIO the chance to make more cash in the future. It will take roughly 6 years for these battery subscriptions to cover the cost of a lower priced vehicle. This is great because it shows NIO have a long-term vision for their company. Moreover, it takes less than 10 minutes to swap a battery in a battery swap station. This is quite great, and NIO have plans for expanding battery swap stations to 5,000 by the end of 2025. There are some slight potential downsides to this, such as more maintenance liability and more service liability, but I think these downsides are extremely minor compared to the battery as a service model's advantages, which there are many. Another key competitive advantage for NIO is their referral rate. NIO's referral rate has risen to 62% in the first half of 2020 relative to other brands like Tesla with 52% and BMW with 42%. This basically means NIO doesn't even have to advertise their product, its users are doing that for them. They're referring the product to others. This is great, it means the quality of NIO's vehicles are great, and it means NIO's product is getting out there without NIO even spending money. I also want to show you guys NIO's new vehicle, the ET7. Now, I don't know too much about cars, so if you know a lot about cars, you should do some extra research into this yourself. But from what I've been hearing, this car is pretty revolutionary. This car has 621 miles of range with their new battery, which is coming out around 2022. From what I've heard, this is a significant amount of range, and it is currently beating other companies like Tesla. Tesla do not have a battery that extends to this range. However, this battery is not out yet, so maybe by this time, Tesla will have made a more competitive battery. Moreover, JP Morgan has stated that back orders for the ET7 equal up to 40,000 alone. This means people already love the car and already want the car. Now, it is coming out in 2022, which isn't as good. However, it is still coming out, so it does look good for the future. It is also important to look into NIO's management team. Now, the main man in NIO's management team is William Li. William Li is the founder and the CEO of NIO. William Li owns 13.8% of NIO's shares, which is nearly his entire wealth of $8.1 billion. It's very important to have a good CEO that you can trust like William Li. Many people buy into Tesla because they trust Elon Musk so much. One good thing about William Li that I've found is nearly his whole net worth is in NIO. That means he must have a significant amount of faith in NIO and faith in NIO for the long term. Many CEOs and founders do not actually have many of their company's own shares, like Google's CEO and many other CEOs. Li was named 2017 Entrepreneur of the Year for China and has a significant amount of good things on his resume. Another small statistic on William Li is William Li says he wants to still live like an ordinary man and still lives in the exact same apartment he has always lived in. You should also do some more research into William Li before you look at purchasing NIO, and look at all of his credentials and see if you yourself have conviction in this management team. Now, I also want to get to a few risks associated with NIO. Every time I hear a company is from China, that brings up red flags for me. Jack Ma disappeared, who is the CEO of Alibaba, and numerous other shady stuff have happened in China, and this is a risk that I need to consider with NIO. Also, will NIO get delisted? There has been increasing threats over Chinese companies getting delisted this year alone. Now, I don't believe NIO will get delisted, as in December of 2020, the US imposed new laws which mean there will be increased auditing on Chinese firms. NIO have said they are completely fine with this as they have nothing to hide and are doing well anyway. So I do have some faith and some confidence in NIO. Now, another key risk for NIO is the competition in the electric vehicle market. As you can see, there are plenty of competitors that will put a lot of pressure on NIO in the future. It is also important to look at NIO's valuations. Multiple banks have valued NIO stock at around $70, $75. Some banks have even got it up to $80 or $85. Personally, I believe by the end of the year, NIO will be at $80, $85. However, I am not sure, and it is difficult for me to predict prices in the short term. In the long term, I believe a $1 trillion market cap is well achievable for NIO, and I believe they'll hit it in the next 10 to 15 years, which would significantly raise the price. However, none of this is financial advice, and I am not sure what it will be in the short term or the long term. I'm just quite bullish on it. So in closing, this was my deep dive on NIO stock. I'm going to do a deep dive on a few other stocks. Keep working on improving the content. If you liked it at all, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.